Hello, Blue Jays, and welcome back to the Nest. Today, on another episode of Jays Today, we are going to be talking about the Mount Rushmore of Bondurant athletes. But before we do that, we have to wrap up our fall sports seasons.
Fall wrap-up, all fall sports are over except for boys cross-country who punched their ticket to the state cross-country meet.
Yep, Fort Dodge on Friday. It's going to be a fun meet, probably.
Oh, yeah. First team since 2017 to qualify for the boys' side. I think that's pretty impressive for the second year of a coaching staff to go from 9th at a district meet to 3rd and qualifying within 1 year. That just shows the hard work that the coaches and the runners went in.
Yeah, I went to the Pella meet, which was state qualifier, and that was the first cross-country meet I've been to all year. It was fun to see boys and girls compete, fun to watch a race, even though it was kind of like a race for me, too. I was taking photos and had to run to all these different places, but yeah, good to see the boys have some success, and all the girls tried hard and effort was there.
Yeah, cross-country, the one sport where, the spectator puts in just as much work as the athletes. But yeah, it was just a loaded district. Pella being there, I could see both of them being top of the state and winning. And definitely hard for that girls' side, but the boys made it out just fine.
All right, so as most of us know now, volleyball season ended last Thursday when they took a trip to Norwalk. Beat Newton in the first round, so second round team, kind of a bummer way to end it, but it happens.
Made their way past the first round of regionals. That's really a win. Had that first round advantage where they did have home court, but overall, they got to the point where they were supposed to get to.
Yeah, and they're a pretty fun team with some fun girls to watch.
It was a really young team this year, and I see in the next few years building up, even still this year, sitting middle of the conference, in a very tough conference, I'll add. And, young team, just keep building that program, and I could see in the next few years having some really good success.
Yeah, they're going to be fun to watch for sure.
Moving into football, they just ended their season at Carlisle, and didn't quite make it to the playoffs, but out of a really tough district, what much more can you say?
Yeah, obviously super hard schedule, and it's really weird not having a game this Friday. And the last couple of years we've been used to super cold late games, so that's definitely weird to think of, but yeah, solid season, saw some good things out of a couple guys. Yeah. Our future's bright with a couple guys, and yeah.
I believe the last time that they didn't make it was 2017, but they built their program back, and I think it takes a few of those rebuilding years, and they'll have more success in the future.
I hope so.
Fun little segment. Now that fall sports have wrapped up, we're going to go into some fall superlatives.
Yeah, thank you, Instagram and the BFHS.
The 3 different superlatives accounts. Why there's 3, I have no idea, but there's 3.
Yeah, give us a good idea. So first, we're going to talk about me and Claire's team MVPs. So for volleyball, I thought it would be Kai Aarons because, every good team needs a good setter, and she led the conference in assists.
Mm-hmm. On the cross-country side of things, obviously, I think if you get a school record, you're the MVP. Leading the way on the boys and girls side, Niall Davis, Lauren Watson, those are my MVPs.
And then for football, I would say the MVP is our quarterback, Jordan Ryle, senior leader, 2-year quarterback. He was first in passing yards in the district, and he was tied for first in passing touchdowns. Also, he played defense. He was our cornerback, too.
Now to our next one, Rookie of the Year.
I would say for volleyball, Rookie of the Year would be Avery Holtkamp. big hitter. There's a lot of freshmen on the team, and she seemed to be playing the most. And, yeah, she had a good season.
She did. On the cross country, I think that I'm going to give 2 rookies of the year, Ryler Hansen and Clark Bennett, both key members to that state qualifying cross country team, both freshmen, and they're just going to move up from there. So those are my rookies of the year.
Yep, I think that's fair. And then for football, pretty obvious. The only freshman who really got playing time on varsity, Riley Vanderlinden, had an insane season for a freshman.
Yeah, Riley just went off. He led the district in receiving yards. He was second in the district in touchdowns. And he was number 1 in the state all-purpose yards by a freshman.
That's crazy, especially because there's 8-man teams that are also included in that.
Our last superlative is best moment of the year.
Yeah, I think for volleyball, it would be the Ballard game at home. Hadn't been winning a bunch at home, and we got absolutely smoked the first set. And then we came back and won it in 5, which was super exciting. Yeah.
Yeah. I think for the cross country, it's getting 2 school records in 1 year. I'd call that a pretty good moment.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy. Boys and girls goal record. For football, I would definitely say the Gilbert game, super fun game. I would say people didn't think we were going to win, but we did.
Yeah. A lot of good moments there. Just, everything was hitting. Everything was going our way. It was just a great game to get through.
And those are the best fall sports moments.
Jays Today is sponsored in part by the Bondurant-Farrar Athletic Booster Club. The need for booster members is greater than ever, and a new member orientation will be held on Wednesday, November 20th from 5:30 to 6 p.m. in the high school library. This podcast is also supported by Vision Bank. For more than 140 years, Vision Bank has maintained its commitment to helping build strong communities. They have been locally owned and locally focused since 1884.
All right, welcome back from the break. Today, we bring in Mr. Vandehaar, who is an art teacher, alumni, and actually a school record holder. He holds the record in total tackles in one game with 24 in football. So that's pretty good.
I was very lucky that day. Very lucky.
So a topic that has been talked about a little bit is the all-time Mount Rushmore for Bondurant athletes. And today, me and Claire have been doing research for the last couple of weeks, and we want to share our thoughts.
Yes, today we are unveiling me and Jasper's Jays Today Mount Rushmore of Blue Jay athletics. The best, who we believe are the best 4 athletes to come out of Bondurant-Farrar. We have 2 females and 2 males. And, obviously, we weren't around for many of these, but that's why we brought in a semi-expert.
I've been around for 3 of the 4, so yes.
Yes.
I'm excited to hear you guys hear this breakdown, because me and other teachers have always talked about who are some of the best athletes to come out of Bondurant-Farrar. So I'm really interested to see how you guys have dug up these stats and what you have in store for why you chose them.
It's definitely, I think, kind of that criteria of either you dominate at one sport and kind of just, overall take it over, or you are just this multi-sport athlete, all-state honors and all that.
Yeah, so let's get into it. Our first Mount Rushmore head is going to be Kate Lappy. And some people might think that's recency bias, but I disagree. She was on first team All-State basketball 2 times, 3-time in All-State softball. She was a 5-time place winner at state track in the discus and the shot, and she qualified and was a 1-time place winner at Drake.
Yeah, it's pretty solid. Even watching when she played, she had that dominant mindset. She was going to win no matter what. I did a lot of site supervisions for softball, and you could just tell when she came up to the plate, anything could happen, and all of a sudden you just see her hit a home run out of nowhere. I shouldn't say out of nowhere. She was consistent with home runs. It was pretty awesome to watch her play and just see her in every single sport, basketball, track. She definitely was one of those mindset of a champion type of players where, hey, whatever comes in front of me, I'm going to dominate. So she was awesome to watch.
Oh yeah, she was a stud, and that's why she's playing Division I softball. You and I right now.
I mean, the numbers don't lie. She is dominant in the sports that she plays. Basketball and softball and track, she just dominated whatever she was in. I don't think you could call her just mediocre. She deserves to be up on that Mount Rushmore because she is one of the best athletes to walk out of this high school.
And I would say live, she is exactly that. Like from my experience, even when she was still in school, we were discussing, who was one of the top athletes ever from Bondurant. She was, well, she's doing that right now. So it's excited that you guys chose her. She's definitely one that is deserving of that.
All right, our second choice is someone who I didn't know very well until we started researching, and that is a girl by the name of Jane McGinness, who was a 3-time state champion in track. She was also on a state champ shuttle hurdle relay team.
I believe she was in high school at Bondurant from 76 to 79, if I'm correct. And I'll say, if you're a 3-time state champ in an individual sport, like that is just, you are automatically on our Mount Rushmore.
And in the 3 years that she won the state championship, she never lost, never got even second place in any of the meets. That's pure dominance.
Yeah. And she led her relay team, her shuttle hurdle relay team, to also be state champs. So not only are you an individual state champ, but you're a team champ, and that is just dominance in a field.
I remember growing up, well, now the intermediate school was the high school, and always seeing a bunch of track photos. Not really knowing who they were, but knew they were state. And so I remember reading that name quite a few times, but I didn't actually know how dominant she was. So I'm glad you guys really looked that up and found that.
All right, our third choice and our first boy is Justin Saney. Talking to lots of adults in this building, people say that he should be number 1 and is probably the greatest athlete to ever come out of Bondurant.
Not only is he was dominant, but we still have Sannies in the district. I mean, our school board president is his sister-in-law. So, just kind of that cool little tie-in there.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So the reason we picked him is he was on first team All-State basketball twice. He was the all-tournament captain. He holds 3 track records, the long jump, 400-meter hurdles, and he was a part of the 4x4 relay record that we have here. He also was a state championship, or won a state championship in basketball.
I was, I think, in 3rd or 4th grade when he was going about it, and I remember going to a game back at the intermediate school, and ironically, when that gym was built, that gym, our gym, was like the state-of-the-art gym at that time in the state of Iowa, which is crazy to think that was a high-end gym in the state. But that gym would be so packed, and it was like a little box, just so loud in there. There would be a guy on the drums playing in the pep band. You could barely hear, but you had to get there way early to see a game. And they obviously had the trademark of shaving their heads. And everyone in the lower classes actually started to shave their heads for the state tournament. And so we'd all shave our heads. We actually made it in the Des Moines Register because of his trend of shaving the heads. All these kids spelled out BF right before that state championship. So we made it in the Des Moines Register for that. But he was so athletic. He could stop on a dime. It was almost as if he knew where everyone was and would just pass it off without looking to any player almost every single time. But that overall class and that overall group was awesome in itself. That was a huge athletic class. But he still was the best of everyone. Everyone can attest to that. That was around that era. But he was just purely athletic and a great guy, too. Still has good family in the district, too.
Justin, not only did he play basketball and run track, but He played baseball and football and four-sport athlete, just crazy, athletic. And it just goes to show, like, he was a leader on those teams, showing that he was the all-tournament captain, all-state basketball. Like, as Mr. Vandehaar said, he was the best on there. And also holding track records in, like, individual sports just goes to show his dominance in those.
Yep, every kid in Bondurant-Farrar wanted to be like him when we were growing up. And so it just can't tell you how many memories I have of down at the barn, as they used to call it, the old state gym, where everyone would be dressed up and going crazy for that team. But it was just so electric to watch him play. Again, for sure, one of the best athletes I've seen come from here.
All right, our fourth choice, and our guest might even know him, Kerwin Dunham, who played basketball and graduated in 06.
This guy, I mean, single sport athlete, but just so dominant.
And yeah, like you said, played one sport. That sport was basketball, and absolutely dominant. Like, these stats are crazy. He was a 2-time first-team All-Stater. He was a Player of the Year 2 different times. He was a 2-time All-Tournament captain, McDonald's All-American nominee, which is a huge deal. He finished 8th in scoring when he graduated, and he still, and 20 years later, he's still 13th all-time in scoring with 2,285 points. And obviously, kind of like Kate, also went to UNI and is playing and played Division I sports.
And that's in states. Like, out of all of the people in the entire state who have ever played basketball, he finished 8th in scoring history. And like you said, 20 years later, he is still 13th.
Yeah, he is actually one of my closer friends from high school, or was my best friend when I was a senior. We spent a lot of time together. He was one of those players that just lived in the gym and was relentless at practicing. He was so quick with his shot that people knew the basketball was going to go to him. They just knew it, but they couldn't stop him. It was crazy how much numbers or points he was putting up each night. But one of the key things, because I always would mess around with him, practice with him, and play defense on him. But one of the key successes why he scored so much was a lot of times when people grab the basketball or get the basketball, they sit right here before they go up. When he caught it, he went automatically to that shooting form. So it would be a catch the ball right to his temple and quick flick. And that's where he got off a lot of his baskets so fast, double teamed, triple teamed. No matter what, his shot was way faster, and he was a little bit taller than most of those guards out on the perimeter. But he was excellent in his preparation, but just a great guy, too. Love the guy. He has a sense of humor like no other. He's now a podiatrist, a doctor, so he did it the right way. He got a full ride to UNI, and he played basketball. He was actually on the team that upset Kansas, number one Kansas at the time. In the NCAA tournament. But he did it right. Talk about afterwards. He got a full ride scholarship. Within that, he actually got his bachelor's in 3 years and then got his master's because he was redshirted. He got his master's done for free in 5 years and then went on to become a doctor. So he did it right in college, but he was just a special type of player. And again, one of those people that no one could stop, no matter how much you prepared for him. He was still going to get 25 to 35 points every single night.
Yeah, that's insane. I wish I was around to see to see him play.
And really, that concludes it all. Our 4 Mount Rushmore heads are Kate Lappy, Jane McGinness, Justin Saney, and Kerwin Dunham. I think we are in agreement that those are the 4 best athletes that have came out of Bondurant-Farrar.
All right, honorable mentions for the boys, starting it off with Tim Corey, 2-time individual state wrestling champion, and he was also on 2 team state champion teams.
Yeah, I think if we had a 5th head to put on the Mount Rushmore, it would be him.
Yep, and then another guy, pretty recent, Reed Falsgraf. all-state football guy 2 different times. He was on an all-state basketball team. He qualified twice in the high jump for track, and he was also on the undefeated state basketball team.
There is also another guy who wasn't, probably it was more so after he graduated, was Taylor Sanderson. He actually went to run at Iowa State. He actually became the Big 12 champion in the decathlon, which is crazy track event if you know that event. But he became the Big 12 champion. So that's not necessarily in high school, but after high school, he did awesome.
It's crazy.
Yeah, and definitely like it's hard to say like if an athlete is super like good in high school or in college, like where should they be on our Mount Rushmore? Just like another one of our honorable mentions, Lauren Buckland. She was a state champ in the 100 hurdles in high school, which, I mean, state champ, like, we also have Kendall Anderson, who is a state champ. But Lauren Buckland, what gives her that extra edge for our honorable mention is that she was a national indoor champ when she went to college.
Another one to mention is Kylie Williamson. She was an awesome basketball player. She actually went D1 and played basketball in college. Again, that's what happened afterwards, but she was on the all-state basketball team.
That wraps up our show for today. Hope you enjoyed listening to our opinions on our Mount Rushmore. Don't forget to follow us on all of our socials at Blue Jay Digital. Thanks for listening.
And as always, it's a great day to be a Blue Jay.
You know, I actually, my first date was with Lauren Buckland. Did you know that? First ever date, 8th grade.